And we are live. All right. It'll take a few minutes for people to actually jump on or show up. It usually takes there's two people. All right. I'm assuming it's Michelle and Dina. And then I know Amy was going to be here and a few others. So we'll just kind of chat a little bit to let people have a chance to jump on. But tonight, I'm going to introduce Jackie Biel, and she's going to talk a little bit about herself. And we have a few important topics we're going to talk about tonight, aren't we, Jackie?
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a lot of people, as I've been talking about this episode, a lot of people have said that they're really, really excited about it. Hello, Bud Files and Shandy. A lot of people are excited about this topic because I think it's becoming more prevalent. So unfortunately, or we're becoming more aware. But so tonight, everybody, we are going to talk about narcissists, toxic people, and then the things that they use, stonewalling, gaslighting, all of those great things. And so I'm going to turn it over. We've got a few people on now. So I'm going to go ahead, Jackie, and let you introduce yourself and talk about what you do, what your group does, etc.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jackie Biel. I'm a generational trauma specialist, and I work helping people let go of the generational pain they're carrying that really doesn't belong to them, coming from narcissistic parents, toxic parents, all kinds of different reasons. That's not the only reason, but as we speak about that tonight. And I help them rediscover themselves, and really this is true with everybody. This find self-love, find true self,
Excellent.
true
Excellent.
self.
Excellent. I love it. Hi, Danny Mae. And I realize that I know I'm probably pixelated. I hope you can hear me and see me okay. My internet is really bad. We just had a big thunderstorm come through. Luckily, it's passed because my dog was shaking the whole house. But yeah, it's great that everybody's jumping on here. I hope you heard me say hi to Shandy. I don't think I've missed anybody yet, but I kind of wanted to start this off because a lot of these, the series of lives have been about my cancer journey. I'm trying to get out there and talk about my cancer journey. And I just had some really bad news today. So I want to throw it out there for prayers. I hope I don't cry again, but a dear friend of mine was diagnosed 16 years ago with breast cancer. She was a massage therapist. She became an oncology certified massage therapist and dedicated her business to helping women with breast cancer. And she found out that she has metastatic breast cancer now, and she's going to fight it. It's treatable, but it's not curable, which none of our cancers really are. So if all of you could please say a prayer for her, send some love and light up for her, that would be very appreciated. I'm devastated because it just reminds me that I might be 10 years out, but none of us are safe. I'm not safe. It doesn't matter. So it's that reality check. Hi, Princess Scary, and I'm trying to remember what your name is. Sharon. Hi, Sharon. So thank you so much for sending up some prayers. But what I wanted to start this session off with is my story of how this relates to my cancer and how I first realized what a narcissist is. And then I'm going to throw it back over to Jackie, and Jackie's going to talk about how more of a definition of what a narcissist is, I guess. We'll talk about that and like toxic people. And then we'll go into the different emotional abuse tactics that they use, like gaslighting and stonewalling and that kind of thing. So for me, when I had my cancer, it was easier for me. I didn't know I was an empath. I had not gone through my awakening. It was easier for me as an empath, even not knowing I was, during my cancer, to focus on everybody else, to help everybody else, because then I was able to compartmentalize, put my cancer in the back, and focus on other people and help other people. I was with somebody at the time. It was a roller coaster with him. And it wasn't until after I was finished with my cancer, I was finished with my relationship, that I got a YouTube. I wasn't on YouTube at all. And I got this YouTube recommendation to watch. I think it was like empaths and insensitives or something. And it was the 10 signs that you're an empath. And so I clicked on it and I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I'm not really claustrophobic. I'm an empath. So things started to click. Right after that, I got another recommendation for that same channel, 10 signs that you're dealing with a narcissist. And then light bulbs again. My ex is a narcissist. It's not my fault. The relationship ending was not my fault. It wasn't my fault. Like, it was huge in my healing process of knowing that it's what they do and they're really good at it. So that's how I learned that I was an empath and what a narcissist is. So Jackie, why don't you kind of help me tell them what a narcissist is?
Well, and I have the definition right here, but it is, it really is a person who just feels an overabundance of entitlement. They feel, but narcissism stems from, let's talk about that. It
Okay.
really stems from growing up in trauma. Now, the same group of kids, one could grow up and decide that they're going to be never going to be like that. And they're going to be the empath. And then you get the other one that, oh my gosh, they're going to protect themselves at all costs. And that happens. Some are just genetically geared to be narcissists, honestly. And sometimes some are just kind of spoiled into narcissism. So there's different ways it accumulates that, okay? So it's that over sense of entitlement. But the sad thing about the narcissist is they lack empathy,
Right.
which would make the empathic person very attractive for numerous reasons. Number one, they love the ride or die person. And that's an empath, okay? That's just one of the things they absolutely adore. They also like, well, that's no boundaries, but they also look for people who have no boundaries and also are really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that they're not.
And they also look for people who are great in public and socially.
Yeah.
Everything that they're not.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's what they'll tear down. So, I want to start with that. That's where they come from. And that's what they look for. So people will often say to the empathic person, oh, you're attracted to narcissists. And it's not true. The narcissist is attracted to the empath. And narcissists are so good that they come in so charming that it's really hard for anybody. Many people being, an empath for sure, but many people end up with a narcissist for a bit because they just don't see it coming. They're really good. So, that ends up, so there is always that attraction. But what can the empath do? They really have to work on their boundaries because that's one thing the narcissist isn't attracted to. Now, boundaries are good, but sometimes there's keys to what to look for too. So we can talk about those things too. But
yes,
that's what I would say, where they come from and what they're looking for.
Well, it was very interesting for me, Jackie, when I realized that my ex was a narcissist, was then taking a look at his parents, who also, in the end, I realized were narcissists. So especially, well, both of them. I can't even say one over the other. And so, in doing all this research, so I'm on Quora, Quora. Yep. So I'm on one of those and I get all the emails. And he is what they call the golden child of the narcissistic parents. And then his brothers were the scapegoats, if you will. So that became very apparent. Now, usually they'll say that a narcissist doesn't realize that's what they are. They don't realize why they why they have no feelings. They don't realize this. But I really truly believe he did. In the end, he kept trying to say, I want to talk to you someday and explain to you why I did to you the things I did to you. And I think he kind of figured out why he was in such a miserable life because he had no feelings.
Well, I kind of agree, but again, they're always very manipulative.
Yes, true, true.
So that's the way, I hate to say that, and I
I
hate to
know,
say that, but
I
they
know.
just are. They just are. They don't even know differently, too. That's the other thing. I'm not making an excuse at all for them. I'm just saying they really don't even, they actually get high, get off on watching you look crazy, watching you explode, watching you get torn down. All the
Mhm.
things that they wanted about you, they like watching that kind of go down and make you feel crazy. And it's all control. It's all control. They're all about control.
Right. So
And it's
let's more define what an empath is. So an empath, most of us in this that are on here right now are most likely empaths. We feel everybody's energies. We absorb it if we don't know how to shield ourselves. We want to care for other people. We want to nurture other people. We feel so deeply. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
no, that sounds
Okay.
right.
So that's why the narcissist is so attracted to us. And before we realize what's happening, it's like we're so sucked in.
Well,
So
again, it goes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
most empaths struggle with boundaries.
Mhm.
We
Yes.
always are giving them a shot. Oh, we have an excuse we understand, we get, okay, so they love the no boundaries. And a lot of us empaths, especially when we haven't healed or we don't even know yet, we become the ride or die guy.
Yeah.
Like we'll stick it out. Oh, we believe you. We understand. See, and so just even those two things about an empath, we have to really, as that's the part we can be responsible for.
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
point. We can
Yes.
be
Absolutely.
responsible for
Yes.
our own boundaries. And really, it is important to have those boundaries just
Yes.
because it's so attractive to
Right.
people like that. And
Right.
you lose yourself in that.
Right.
So, yeah,
So
right. So,
yeah. So Shaw Woman says, well, Michelle, the paranormal experiencer, is dealing with it with a family member. She knows now what's going on and is working on her boundaries. Shaw Woman, who is Dina, for your knowledge, Jackie, she says it's like when people get all upset because someone took advantage of them for their own generosity, but it's that person that also allows them to be taken advantage of.
that is even what I'm doing a workshop right now, free workshop on boundaries. And that is even one of my tags is, do you feel taken advantage of? And I did. I mean, I did. I felt so taken advantage of. And it's so weird. It's really about
Yeah.
protecting yourself and not even just setting boundaries so you're not a whiner. It's really
Right.
protecting yourself. So,
Right.
right. And from the narcissist.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But many of us, okay, and like myself, I was raised by a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, that either can make you follow suit, but I wasn't her golden, but it can also, mess with you too. And I was going to say some of the things is that when you're raised by a narcissist parent, you don't feel heard.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you your mom just or your parent or whatever just requires you become the people pleaser real
Yes.
easy because
Yeah.
you don't know any different, and that's your mom. And that's the thing I want to tell a lot of you too, is if you did have a narcissist parent, sibling, just in your growing up, that's our first idea of love is our parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not a blamer of parents, but because I'm a generational. So remember, I know that it's a pattern, pattern, pattern. But my point is that when you come from that area, you might end up finding that in life because it feels like home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't
What you're
see
used
the
to.
red flag for a little bit longer than the rest of the people that
Yeah.
might have seen it. The ones that have strong boundaries, the one that have all that, they see it a little quicker. So don't ever feel like that. But you might just take a little bit longer if you did grow up in dysfunction or trauma, which, if we all think about it, 100% of every family grew up in dysfunction. I mean, that's such a weird, but seriously, if you did, that might be something that feels really comfortable at first. And then you realize, whoa, and you might be further along in it. But just so you know.
Yep. Hi, Heather. Thank you for sharing. So Mary says a family member accused her of being a narcissist, which horrified her. So she searched hard to find out, am I a narcissist? And then she said everything she found said if she was looking, then she certainly was not. Was it possibly projection from the family member?
I'm going to say absolutely. If that family member is a narcissist person, for sure. However, okay, I got to go back up to what the question actually said, which she wrote. It's kind of okay. There we go. Am I a narcissist? No. But what might happen is, without boundaries, we become a bit passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be manipulative, and that could appear narcissistic, especially if someone like a family member is looking to find something about you. But I'm just going to say, what if there's anything you want to look at that might resemble it? It might just be that you're living with no boundaries and you've learned to be passive aggressive. Well, they should know my boundary. Don't they know how angry I got last time? Well, you didn't say. I mean, there's certain things to it, but I'm just saying there's little passive aggressive ways that those of us that don't want to set the boundaries because we don't want to hurt anybody or make them angry, yet we're angry the whole time and annoyed. However, we become a little passive aggressive in that. And so that would be my only thing. But I would go 100%. If that person is close to narcissistic, that's projection.
Yep. Yep. All right. Good. So let me take her off.
Thank you.
Right. Hi, Dale, and hello, Haley. Welcome, welcome. All right. So, and Stacy, my mom and I both are empathic. So much of this hits home. Yes, 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 for sure. Michelle says, yes, she kept in that cycle until she finally woke up. We're glad you woke up. But a lot of us don't. So Mary says that makes that fits her more than narcissism. Yep. Okay, good. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit then about how narcissists win you over to begin with. And that's the whole love bombing, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friend or a mother or a father. It's that love bombing, making you feel like you are the best thing that's ever walked on the earth. And they get you so wound up in this fairy tale. Oh my God, I finally found my fairy tale ending. Right?
Oh, that's just the thing. And the older the woman becomes and single, I think they see victim more and more. Honest to goodness, that I really believe that. That's exactly right. And they do come in. And to you, it isn't overwhelming. If you were to probably tell somebody, they would say, oh, wow, that really sounds overwhelming. However, to you, it just sounds like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, and they're good. And again, but it's so quick and it's so fast, but when you're in it, it just doesn't seem like that. Okay, love bombing, and definitely winning over everyone around you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Everyone around you. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that works really well later to show how crazy you are.
Yeah.
They start right away.
Yeah. And Shanny said it happens to men too. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's as many narcissistic women out there as there are men. Absolutely. So let's just say that right now. That is absolutely true. I know some narcissistic women. So yes, absolutely. But So Stacy says that her sister would qualify as a narcissist. So I understand. Yes. So I would say, first the love bomb. So they get you so they get your guard down, they get your boundaries down, they get you so emotionally attached to them right away, and you believe them, you trust them, and then what happens?
Well, sometimes you even trauma bond with them. Okay, so if you're not healed, there'll be a part, they're very good. So there'll be a part of them that attaches to that unhealed part. I just, and they, and that to you feels like home, but in a loving way
Mhm.
at first.
Yeah.
And then it starts to turn. Then it starts to turn. And I believe it all, I could be really wrong, but I would go with almost always. It almost starts with the flip of ignoring you all of a sudden,
Yeah.
from love bombing to, and I don't know if ignoring is the right word, but you know what I mean? That's where I think it always twists right there.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that right away sends you spiraling into what's going on? What did I
Right.
do? Because you know why you'll go to what did I do? Because you are a normal human being, first of all, that can be accountable. And second of all, you're an empath. So you'll immediately pick up on their feeling and wonder, what did I do? So it just starts. That's where I think the next step goes. After the love bombing and getting you in there, it's just that flip. And it seems like that flip is just ignoring, cold, just different. Enough to make you notice it.
Yes. And so like
Yes.
Haley says, they whisk you away from so they win your friends and family over and you over, but then they take you away from them. Like they cut
Well,
you
right.
off from them.
After they make that twist and your head goes to, what am I doing wrong? I want to be love bombed. What is going on? Then it starts to be your family. It starts to be this. It starts to be all these things externally that you can go, okay, all right. Mm-hmm. And then once you're alone, just like they were saying, then it starts to come inward a lot more to you, so that's how I agree too.
Yeah. Shandy says it has happened to two men that are very close to her. So she saw it happening, but she, you can't really stop it. I mean, it has to be that person. Oh, I'm sorry, Amy, that you were in the car with your toxic sister yesterday. That is hard for sure. For sure. So then let's talk a little about, because this is when the gaslighting and the stonewalling start to happen. So let's talk about what is gaslighting, because I had no idea why I thought I was crazy.
In the movie in the 40s, which I'm sure a lot of people already knew something about that, but gaslighting is when, I'm going to give you I have a great thing here. I'm going to just give you, gaslighting is when they make you feel like you're crazy.
Right. Yep.
And they twist everything and they lie and they already have you focused on you.
Right.
So you're all, this doesn't just happen overnight. So, you're already focused on you going, what has been going wrong and what am I doing? And what, and then they start to tell you that they didn't say that, or they did say that, or, you got that wrong. And why would you think that? I never said that. And you start to question your own reality is what it boils down to. I was looking over here at some of these. Yeah, the mind games. That's what it is. You've done all these things wrong. And really, some of the time, it's really them that's done it wrong. But they have you thinking you've done it wrong.
Right. Hi, Fairy Dragon. And Heather says her sister-in-law has ruined every family event they ever have, etc. So absolutely. And emotional vampires. Yes, Amy. Absolutely. So what they're also doing at this time is they're cheating on you. So whether it be a parent that's then, they're paying more attention to somebody else than you or whatnot, or if it's your partner, they're cheating on you with somebody else, but they've already started to make you feel insane and you don't know what reality is anymore because they lie every single time they open their mouth, then you don't even know that you think they might be cheating, but you don't know. And then they'll lie to your face that they weren't. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then the stonewalling can come in.
Oh, and the stonewalling, that is stonewalling. Okay, first of all, before we move on with the gaslighting, I want to give a couple little things that you can do when you're
Yes.
dealing with gaslighting.
Yes.
Okay. Here are these responses you may use. And honestly, you cannot give them, I call it ammunition, but it actually is, it's anything to use against you. And it's really hard to do, not to do or to do. But so short and sweet, we remember things differently.
Okay.
If you continue to speak to me like this, I'm not engaging. I hear you, and that isn't my experience. I know my truth, and I'm not debating it with you. And I'm stepping away from this conversation. So those are some really good things you can use when you are being gaslit, because it's hard. You get sucked in there and you want to defend and get, there's no winning. There's no winning. No winning. Short, sweet, to the point.
Right. And actually, the best thing is just to walk away before it gets worse. It's just to not even engage and just to leave and just completely walk away. But it's just really hard. I spent 9 years in a relationship with a narcissist because I was determined. I didn't know. And I was determined it was going to work. I was absolutely determined it was going to work. Yes.
I'm reading these too. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. Yes. And belittle. And the stonewalling. That's giving you, honestly, it's kind of like the silent treatment, but really it's even like this. Oh, don't even talk about that. We're not even going to, it's cutting you off at their discomfort, at their, there's more to it. And it really is being ignored, is verbally ignored, not even acknowledged. Just, that's another tactic.
Yes.
So you start to feel unheard and, they just play with every single thing about it. Over talking. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And then true, Stacy, they might let you ease back in and feel like things are okay. And then bam, they do it all over. And then the anger. Oh my gosh. The first time he screamed at me, I was so caught off guard. I had no idea what was happening because he'd never done that. It was more ignoring or stonewalling. But the first time he screamed at me, I was like, what? Just how can you talk to me like that? And I was completely caught off guard. I didn't even scream back because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
Hi, Yvonne.
And then once that anger gets going and they can get you going, you start to realize their little nuances of what they're doing. And then you think, oh gosh, you're going to get angry. Okay. And they're really good. And this is how it all starts to go, where it starts to be you. They're really good at picking at you in like public in a tone that you know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But the other people, they can go, oh, what? And they love it. Yeah. And they love the response. And they love to set you up and go, look at her. And the point is, it's like, look at how I'm responding, but we're not looking at how you're behaving.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's the reality. It's like, no. And that's the truth with narcissists. They get everybody to look at how you're responding. Mm-hmm. And you end up unhealed. You might end up, well, most people do. If they're just good human beings, you end up defending yourself. Mm-hmm. Which only adds to, see, look at her, and it's like a no-win. So there's times you have to learn to know when to walk away. Yeah. And when I have some things that, okay, after all these things they've done, first of all, they're also going to get their flying monkeys. So do you know what flying monkeys are? from like the Wizard of Oz. They get everybody to think you're nuts and they're the victim.
Mhm.
And then they even do the dirty work for them. They're good. They get them to even do that. They just sit back and the flying monkeys, and they always find those darn flying monkeys. I don't care. They just have them. And no matter how you respond, you're going to fit exactly what they've said about you to the.
Yes.
Isn't it exhaust? Doesn't it just sound exhausting to be a narcissist? It sounds like a lot of work, a lot of remembering, a lot of, but they do. It's crazy. So you get the flying monkeys. Here's when it's time to walk away. When they think you're arguing every time you have an emotion,
Mhm.
when
Yep.
really they're the one that's angry and arguing, right? And they are committed. Really, when you think about it, they're committed to misunderstanding you. If
Yes.
you really take a step back and
Yep.
you realize that this is time to go because you're probably dealing with that. They shame you when speaking your heart and mind. And some will even act like they love you during that moment
Mhm. Yep.
and will use it against you just down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember several times that I remember a friend of mine passed away right at Christmas. And I got the message and he was in the other room and I was sitting on the couch crying and I was just devastated. He had ALS and she went through, years taking care of him and he died on Christmas Day. And I remember sitting there and I was so upset and he came in, he was like, "What are you crying for?" And I said, "My friend just passed away on Christmas Day." And he had absolutely no emotion. And I thought, how could you not show any emotion whatsoever? It was mind blowing to me because I still had no idea what was going on.
Didn't affect him.
Right. At all, because he has no feelings
Exactly.
Haley said, the thing is they have no feelings. Hold on. So they don't even know. Mostly they don't even know they're doing it. It's normal to them. Absolutely. Lying is normal. No feelings are normal. Yeah.
Cheating.
Mm-hmm. Hi,
Okay.
three girls.
They gaslight you and stonewall you is another reason to go. We talked about that. And listen to this, they are indifferent to your presence in their life. That's
Absolutely.
exactly. And, but we don't see it that way. We wonder what we're doing wrong if we just sat back and looked, you know. And
Real
they're
quick,
unwilling to show empathy
Jackie,
unless, I'm sorry.
real quick. So Dale's asking, are these people totally aware of what they're doing? Is it controllable? If you are one, is it faulty wiring? So what he came in a little late. What we're saying is most of the time it's not, they can't control it. They
No,
cannot control it.
it can be genetic. It can be being raised by narcissists. It can be being spoiled as you grow up. I mean, there's different things that can learned condition, kind of learned, but learned early, but
Yeah.
doesn't show up sometimes till, teens, young adult, but couldn't show up earlier. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
oh my God, Haley. Absolutely. I had cancer. You'll be fine. He has MS. I don't know how many times I said, MS is not going to kill you. Cancer can kill me, however. So when your MS kills you, then we can talk about it. Oh my God. Oh, self-harm.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh. Yes. That I just was reading Come Hither with Heather. Is it Heather? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're good.
Yes. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just
No,
wanted to.
that's okay. That's okay. Here's the thing: they withhold, they withdraw, or they withstand love from you. That's another reason to go.
Yes.
They are hurting you more than they're healing you or helping you, and they dismiss, minimize, or invalidate your feelings.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so if you're seeing those signs, and sometimes we don't till somebody says it and we step back and go, yeah, you're right. That's, but
Well,
again,
and another thing that you can also see really quickly is things that they said, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. I can't believe, you're so good at this, you're so good at that." And then a little bit later, they're like, "You can't do that. You suck at that." And it's like, well, but you just told me before that I was the best. Like, I don't, why did you say that? Yep.
yeah, okay. And so I have a little list here of some things that, a smear campaign. Let's talk about a smear campaign. Once it's over, gonna be over, whatever, they begin their smear campaign. As I said, they're just a lot of energy because, they begin that. And they get everybody, that's important to them to have everybody on their side, and they're the victim, and usually the empath is empathic enough to come running over there to try to not end it even badly and
Yes.
fall right into what look at her. That's all you get. That's how I picture them. Look at her. Just look at her, and it's like, no, look at you. So,
Right. Right. Right.
and there, like I said, the reason you end up staying is because of your unhealed trauma. And I'm just going to say that over and over.
Mhm.
They find your weakness, and usually that's a little unhealed trauma. And they love bomb that area of you, and some, but they
Mhm.
love bomb, hit that area, and they hook you. And then that's the area they use against you too. And, it's usually a lot of
Yes.
unhealed trauma. So again, the boundaries. But here's the thing about boundaries. Boundaries require a good sense of self-love. And many
Mhm.
of us that grew
Yeah.
up in any dysfunction or trauma, we didn't have good role models for self-love, healthy boundaries, or even just being content and letting it be his problem. That's the other
Mhm.
thing. Empaths come in and want to fix. Okay, we didn't have role models for that, so we didn't get to learn
Right.
how to have the self-love that's needed for
Right.
the strong
Right.
boundaries.
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
Haley, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on here and talk about this, because I want to help those that don't understand, stop them from it happening. Thank you so much, Jared. Because it is so hard, and it can be, I ended up in therapy. I literally begged God before I realized he was a narcissist. Before I knew, I literally begged God to bring the cancer back and take me, because I didn't want to be on this earth anymore. I didn't want to feel anymore. I didn't want to breathe anymore. I wanted to die, but I wouldn't ever take my own life. So I seriously, before I knew what I did wrong, which I didn't, now I know, I wanted to die. I really
and
did.
you've
And
done
so
a
that's
lot of
why I
damage
want
to
to,
them. Yeah.
yes, yes, for sure. The other thing,
Well,
let's talk about, do you have more on your list, or
no, go ahead. I
I
want
was
to
going
know.
to,
I want you to understand. Social media is their friend.
yeah.
That's a new tactic with the narcissist today. There's a little bit of social media that can come into play. So just know that was a new thing. That's kind of a new end of narcissism where they're using it a lot for that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And also the hoovering thing too. Mine just texted me a few weeks ago. I've already told him I know what he is. He already knows. And he's still trying to hoover me back. So
but
you
it's
have to be
not about you.
right. Right.
That's the
So you
point.
have
You
to be
could
aware.
say all you want. It's what he wants right now.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
like you said, you're saying those things and he's still there. He just, right. They don't care. It's about them. And
Yeah. But
we
their whole
misinterpret that as, look at how much he cares about me. He
right.
just won't let me go.
They're hoping that they catch you at a weak moment and you're like, oh, he really does care. He's changed, or she cares. She's changed, or whatever. And it's absolutely not true. I really want to block him, but I know what he is and I'm never going back. So I like to see if he tries to come back. That gives me a little bit of satisfaction, just a little bit. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Haley. It was really satisfying to me because they he broke up with me the first time. I wanted to die. We got back, he hoovered me back. We got back together, and then this was after my cancer was over. And then I started to kind of see more, and then I started to realize I don't love this guy. I don't even like him. We have nothing in common. I don't like to spend time. What am I doing here? But again, the empath in me didn't want to give up. It was going to be great.
Ride or
Blah, blah, blah,
die. Mm-hmm.
right? And then it was the second time, I guess. No, the third time. The second time he broke up with me, I went off on him and I was just like, get out, just go. Then I hoovered him back, or allowed him to hoover me back, just so that I could drop the bomb and say, I know you're a narcissist. After I let him buy me dinner. I know you're a narcissist. I think you should get back together with your ex-wife and you can have, a happy life together or whatever. And the look on his face was just so satisfying to me, even though he couldn't feel.
Oh, and the minute he got in the car, drove off and forgot, but just that moment where you caught
Yeah.
him without a comeback.
Yeah.
Where he
Yes.
wasn't expecting.
I'm so sorry, Amy. It sounds like you've really got some bad things going on there. You've got to set some boundaries, girl.
Okay, so let me tell this thing about boundaries and
Yes.
self-love. Here's the 3 things that keep you from self-love and true happiness. Okay. Number 1 is a false sense of self. Who would you be if you were living up to everybody else's expectations?
Okay.
What kind of life would you be living if you were living for just you, authentic you?
Right.
Do you even know? We've been told what matters. We've been told it is hardworking, be your most appealing, attractive, financially stable, be good, be dependable. And some of us have taken it to a level where we've stayed in abusive relationships. We've clung to these identities. We've stayed in a job that sucked the soul out of us. We didn't pursue it. We lived small. And when you live small, you might start self-medicating it, all of these things. So you cannot have self-love if if you're not even able to see the real you yet. So false sense of identity. Number 2 reason you search for the self-love is you have fear. And the fear is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to attract the man or woman of my dreams. I'm not good enough to get that promotion or raise. I'm not good enough to pursue my dreams. Sometimes I'm not even good enough to take care of my body when I need to. And so when we live in that fear, it's just a fear of failing. So we don't even try. And so you keep yourself, you suck the life out of your soul, really. So you really can't hold on to fear and have self-love because you're not really pursuing the things that will set your soul free.
Yeah.
Then the third thing that keeps us from self-love is holding on to past mistakes, past everything. We live in regret, resentment, disappointment, embarrassment, and it just wraps around our neck and it keeps us, if only I would have, if only I wouldn't have, if I would have said this, if I wouldn't have said this. And that negative energy just wraps our body and keeps all the light out. And you really can't see the good in front of you when you're looking back. So you're living in I'm always gonna be, I'm never gonna be. You can't even see that you have a destiny. And so it's impossible to have self-love when you're self-loathing the mistakes you've made in the past. And
Yes.
without self-love, it's really hard to have those boundaries.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you really have to learn to let go of that past,
Yes.
work through those fears, heal
Mhm.
whatever needs to be healed, and
Mhm.
get to your true identity. And
Mhm.
then you're in a place to set boundaries. You can set boundaries at any given point. It's healthy to just start, but it's also healthy to really learn that self-love. So it matters. And I guarantee if you have a strong sense of self-love, especially an empath, you're really not attractive to that narcissist.
Yep. 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 I thought this was interesting what Heather said. Do you have
Wow.
any thoughts on that?
I do because I have to have a son who's gay and I feel somewhat the same. You know, I don't know what his background is, but for my son, I worry about things like that. He's
Yeah.
just so happy to have found someone, to be accepted, to maybe for him, it's they've been out already. I don't know. So I could see that. I wonder if that has to do with just the stigma they've
Yeah.
carried. Breaks them down, makes them weak, have no boundaries. You know, that's
Yeah.
too bad.
Yes, Haley, it is. It's the best feeling ever when I finally realized it wasn't my fault, that I'm not the problem. It was so freeing for me to realize, oh my goodness, he's the one that's sick. He's the crazy one. It's not me. I'm normal. Well, I don't know.
But
I am
then
kind of crazy.
don't give yourself the grace for the behavior you had while you weren't aware of that. You know,
Mhm.
because sometimes it brings
And
out the
Yvonne
ickiness.
said, yep.
Like a boulder around your neck.
Yvonne says,
Absolutely. Oh, yep. And
yeah.
you guys,
And then,
lots of us don't know what self-love. Again, it goes back. I'm going to say this one more time. In generational trauma, it's so passed down that if you had parents that didn't show you good self-love, didn't give you good boundaries, those are things we didn't really get. So give
yeah,
ourselves some grace.
yes, for sure. Well, good for you, Amy. Yep. Good job. Yep.
And that's the other thing. Use your voice, throat
Yeah.
chakra, open it.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Now, mostly
Absolutely.
with the narcissist, though, I'm going to just tell you guys, I'm gonna read this thing to you. Let me find this for a second. I have a funny thing, but it is so true of how to handle the narcissist. And it is, I have to find, I'm not even gonna do it. Sorry. I should have found it first, but it's right here.
While
Okay.
you're doing,
How does go no contact best?
yep.
Oh, this is a reality. Show no emotion, very brief interactions, walk away when they start being manipulative, and you can even use some of those words. Don't talk negatively about them to people they know.
Right.
I know it's the hardest thing, but with a narcissist, you're just better off sucking it up. And I don't mean that to us people please and people suck it up, but seriously, you are not going to get where you want. And you're just giving them that ammunition
Mhm.
to use with the flying monkeys and everybody around you. So that,
Mhm.
and set boundaries and never back down, and work on you. Be happy. So
Yeah.
here's the 5 things that are funny. Number 1, stay away. Number 2, don't try to convince them they're wrong. Stay away. Number 3, don't try to fix them. Stay away. Number 4, don't argue with them. Stay away. And 5, oh yeah, stay away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I thought
Yep.
that was
Absolutely, Heather. I agree. And so what I think is really interesting with all of this is, even though I had learned that I was an empath, I had learned that he was a narcissist, and what those things mean is that I still had a lot of healing to do. And so the work that I've done in our optimized class in teaching people, including myself, about the energies we came into this life with, and how, I mean, my Chiron, my wounded healer, what I've brought into this world that that triggers me is feeling like I have to prove my value to everybody. I've spent most of my life doing things I had no desire to do just because I had to prove to somebody else that I could do what everybody wants me to do. And then, for you, Jackie, your group, if anybody on here is on Facebook and wants to join Jackie's group, please, please, please. What is it called, Jackie?
It's called Healing Changes, Breaking Free from Generational Trauma. Healing Changes, Breaking Free from Generational Trauma.
This is a group that you can join where they have like-minded people that are trying to heal from generational trauma. She also has some free workshops, and she has some paid classes, sessions, whatever you want to call them, that she puts out there as well to work on these different things.
Yes. And I have a free coffee group. We meet every Friday and discuss different things. So there's lots of stuff to do on there, some PDFs to download. And we're not about blaming. Well, we talk about it, but it's really just about healing.
Yep. So Dale wants to know how you spot one before it's too late and you're sucked in.
Ooh. I would go with probably the love bombing. It's going to feel like nothing. This is it. Here's the thing. If you are head over heels, run.
Yes. And you know what's really sad is with mine, I right away I was like, whoa, back off. This is weird. What are you talking about? And all this stuff. This can't be real. This can't be real. But boy, did he work it. And
I'm
finally,
saying it.
Yeah.
Everybody around you would go, wow, he said that in 3 days. You're that right. And you go in your mind, it works so perfectly. It's not like what it sounds. That's what you want to say. It's not like what it sounds. It's different. Those are the keys, but it's hard to, it's exciting. And the best thing, Dale, is the boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The boundaries. Sure. Honestly, people with good boundaries would never think it's normal to tell somebody you love them in 3 days.
Right.
If they would go, huh? But those of us that are empaths or whatever, we have to be really even more secure in our boundaries, but it's easier for us to get sucked in that way.
And I feel like a lot of them don't say they love you because they can't really say that, but they like portray that they do. But
well, I've never felt this way before.
Yes.
This is different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've never been in love, but this is different. Something like that. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. But it isn't so Hollywoodish like we're making it. It just seems to come, and you, like you said, you even know it's like it can't be, but
yeah.
Yeah.
If it's too good to be true, just like with anything, if it seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
And you guys, if you have a narcissist in your family, I know people will say, well, it's family. You should. You do have permission to cut the ties. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you permission. If it is actually hurting your health, mental, physical, all of it, you don't have to, no matter what they say. There's no need to keep a toxic bond going. Right. And you don't have to be understood. Just know, you don't have to be. Just accept that. Yeah. Breathe.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And, the other thing that I've learned recently that has helped me a lot in dealing in any kind of relationships, really, whether it's family or friends or coworkers or whatever, is knowing that I am only responsible for myself, my actions, and my reactions. Jackie, yours are on you. Haley, yours are on you. Everybody in this chat, you are only responsible for yourself, your actions, and reactions. So that helps me when somebody else reacts in a way or acts or reacts in a way that I don't agree with or that bothers me. I can just say, okay, that's on you. It truly is on them.
It's okay for people to be angry. Just
Yep.
accept that other people can be angry. You don't have to change that or help that, or that's where the narcissist will spot you. But I'm
Yeah.
because other people will allow people just to be angry, and you yourself can be angry. There's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, if for the moment, they'll tell you that. They'll make you feel like you're the angry one. You can be angry because you know what? You've been played,
Right. Right.
and they're good. And that public one is really when you should notice it. You all know when you've dealt with a narcissist and you're in public and they do that to you to get the rise out of you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Or what they often do too is if they finally take you to be around their group, they will take you and then they'll leave you and they'll be off doing whatever while you're just sitting there. Well, what am I, now I'm all alone. I look like an idiot. And then if their friends start to pay attention to you and decide they like you, then it's a whole other story. They're going to come over and make sure they turn that shit off.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, there were some other things. They need validation a lot. They have the silent treatment, the possessiveness, withholding love, withholding things from you. How about this? I was gonna, but you didn't. My daughter dated a guy that once said, it was her birthday, and he said, I was gonna bring you flowers, but you never told me your favorite kind. They'd been dating about a month and a half. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, you never asked. I mean, but
Yeah.
right away it was her. You know what I mean? Then she knew. She was like, ooh, that kind of sounds like a deal. But, it's like that kind of talk where it's you, it's not
Yeah.
them. And they don't
Yeah.
have the empathy. Even the financial abuse.
Yes.
Let's talk that.
Yes. They will take all of your money if you let them.
Yes. And they will withhold all of theirs if they have it.
Yes. Absolutely.
And they violate your boundaries, even if it's in the beginning and you say something like this. I told my sister I was going to go over and help her, or she's going to come over and help me, whatever. And they show up.
Yeah.
And at first it seems cute. And if you're not mad, then good. They're going to keep doing. So pretty soon they don't respect any of your, it's slow, but that's how you can tell too. And the double standards.
Yeah.
And that's usually when it turns into, well, I would have, but you.
Yeah.
So you just got to watch those things. So I hope that, or unavailable, emotionally unavailable, or, all those things.
Well, and also you touched on something that is a huge sign is promises. Like, I don't know how many times he gave me trips we were going to go on. And it was just like a little note that says, for your birthday, I'm going to take you to Florida. It never happened. And he would get me all excited. We plan a trip somewhere and it never happened. Or I was going to get this in it. And then the gifts he did give me were so shitty. It's like, why would you even buy that?
That's called future faking.
Yeah.
It's called future faking.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Haley says, public shows of affections, arm around you as if you're owned. But then if you speak to someone, yeah, they say something later. But you know what? At first he was like that. And I'm a very touchy-feely person. But then all of a sudden he couldn't hold my hand. He didn't want to hold my hand for 2 seconds. He couldn't sit by me. He couldn't look at me. He wouldn't kiss me. Like all of a sudden he wanted nothing to do with any affection.
And they start a thing with, well, even I can speak with my mom. That's where it's real common. Triangulation. Have you heard of that? That's where they pit others against you too.
Yeah.
It's like that, okay? So they're not alone. It's just never just you. If they throw in a third person.
Yeah.
So now it's that. And then they get that other person on their side it's just a crazy thing. Honestly, I keep just reading all this and thinking, I'm exhausted reading it. I can't imagine getting up every day and going, okay, all right, what did I say yesterday? Oh, they don't even care what they said. So.
I know. And they also will talk so highly and treat other people so much better than you in front of you. So I remember he would treat his brother's girlfriend so much better than me. And I would be like, why do you think she's so great? I'm right here. Like, what?
My dad and I used to always joke and say, before they got divorced, but we used to laugh and say, we wish we were her friend because she was so much nicer than to her friends,
Yeah.
than to us. And that's kind of hard to watch too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really hard to watch them be nice to other people.
Yeah, it is. Because I just kept thinking, I don't understand why you're being so mean to me, but you're being so nice to that person. They didn't do all this stuff for you. And hoarding. What about hoarding? I think there's something with hoarding.
I don't know anything about that.
I've known several that are hoarders.
Well, the possessiveness comes in.
Yeah.
That's probably where that was. I mean, I know they're very possessive, so it could even go from that. But yes, they just think they're better. They don't even have to. They're just better overall.
Yep.
Creates confusion. How about that? Lots of drama.
Yes.
Word salads.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't really know what the heck they just said.
Yeah.
How many times did that ever happen to you? They didn't really answer you.
Yes.
But they answered you.
And I feel like they have very addictive personalities too.
Mm-hmm. They really don't seek the help that much.
Right.
They just don't. They don't see why they need it, But again, you guys, don't stay with anybody because you feel like the false sense of identity and you have to be there. But again, it's really a trauma response for some of them. Mm-hmm. And that it won't change, but it is a trauma response.
Yeah.
So you could realize you just don't want that trauma response in your life. If you need to think of it like that, even like I just don't need that.
Haley says she feels like she's gone back 4 years to therapy. Brilliant stream. Thank you.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing to remember too is as horrible of people as they are, a lot of them, it's a sickness. It's something they can't help. It's a trauma response. They had a horrible childhood. They were brought up by narcissists, whatever. It doesn't take away what they've done to you or make it better, but it's definitely a sickness. It's like schizophrenia or, bipolar or whatever. It's very similar to that. The problem is
it brings in a lot of paranoia.
Yeah. The problem is, to your point, they aren't going to seek help because they don't think they need help. Yeah.
And if they do, it's not even going to be real. They're going to come back and tell you. My mom, one time I got her to go and she said, she just said, she thought, I just wanted to puke the minute I heard her go. She just thinks, yeah. I thought, I should have gone with you. But of course, she went in and it was all, but, it is not, this is something to keep in mind. It's not loyalty that keeps us in bad relationships. Like I said, the do or die, that really is unhealed trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, Haley, you just hit one. Absolutely. When they don't know what their kid's favorite meal is or cake or whatever, when they don't, it's like they don't care. And this should have been when his youngest daughter, so the youngest daughter was the scapegoat, the oldest daughter was the golden child. And when the youngest daughter seriously asked him in front of me, Dad, do you seriously not love me or do you just not know how to show it? I was floored. Wow. I felt so bad for that poor kid. I felt so bad because she felt so unloved by her own father because he didn't show any affection. The old pat on the back hug, like if you got one, it was like, what? But his mom, oh, he would hug the hell out of her.
But
Yes.
the thing is, when you're a kid growing up with that, and it's sad, but it's not even about you. You don't even grow up knowing that it could have ever been about you.
Yeah.
You just always know it's about them, the dad, your mom, it's kind of like a parent with the sickness too. I mean, just like you said, and drug addict, but that narcissism, you just know it's not really about you. You just know that young. Nobody tells you over and over, it's not about you. You just know it. You
Yeah.
just never knew it was about you.
Right.
That's kind of that's why I say sometimes you don't see the red flags because they feel like home. You just didn't know any different. And you guys, when you are raised in that kind of trauma and stuff, your brain is wired a little different. And
Mm-hmm.
generational trauma, they are finding that even the Holocaust, this is how it came about. There was a Canadian psychologist who studied Holocaust uh, people in the Holocaust, their kids, and they had a lot of PTSD that their parents had, and he couldn't believe it because they were in Canada. And then in 1978, it was followed up with the grandchildren of them, and there was a 300% increase in that families of people seeing therapy for PTSD into the great grandchildren. So
Wow.
it is passed down because you're wired. And think about those Ukrainian people. When you're getting bombed, you are hyper wired for survival. That's all your brain is doing. Your eyes are big, your ears are open, and your brain's being wired. So when you grow up, then that gets passed genetically to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the regular wiring where we learn to sit and process and be content. We're hyperwired. How I always know it's been passed down to somebody and they didn't even experience it is, and many of us that have, you'll get this, when they say, I'm just anxious and I don't know why. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, because your DNA, that's
Yeah.
why. And
Yeah.
you don't know how to sit with it because your mom and dad didn't and the people above them didn't and we're wired differently. So
Mm-hmm.
it is okay to sit in the unknown and
Mm-hmm.
just even acknowledge I'm sad. It's
Yeah.
okay. Period. Just feel it. But anyway, and wire your brain different. So yes, that's another thing. When you're wired like that, you're not even being able to process the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I love
Okay.
this. I love this. Do we have any other questions from our great little group here? Um, let's see what Amy has to say here. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but you have to take that time for yourself when you get in that situation, Amy. So it's good that you did that. So good that you did that. Um, yeah, so I would just say, I think we'll probably do this again because I think this was really amazing. It helped me, even though, I am more aware and I continue to follow Cora and I continue to follow what people say because I just want to be more enlightened every day about it. And I actually follow his one of his daughters, the youngest daughter, still because I love seeing that they've gotten their own life. I love seeing that they're moving on from their trauma, that they're going out in the world and they haven't posted anything about their father in a long time, and I'm glad they don't have him around much because that makes me feel so 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 good that they're moving on. I was so worried about the youngest, at least. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, everybody. That was very nice comments.
Yeah. And Jackie, Michelle and Yvonne are both going to join the group, so they've requested to join.
Yay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So awesome. I love it. I love it. Love it. Thank you, Dale. Well, if nobody has anything else, I'm going to go start my full moon rituals for the night to let some shit go, surrendering some stuff that no longer serves me because it is the full moon at 9:36 in just less than 30 minutes. We peak on our full moon, which is awesome. So again, if you want to find, let's look and just see what Miss Haley says. So many people speak.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Kindred Paranormal. We are actually jumping off, but you can watch the replay. But if you do want to get in touch with Jackie and you are on Facebook, please go to
Healing Changes, Breaking Free from Generational Trauma.
Yep. Yep. And you can also look up Jackie Biel, Lane Biel, and find her that way too.
Yeah, they'll see it.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
Well,
and if you don't, let me know. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you for having me, Stephanie. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
And you have some great people here. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.